Worry is something most of us know all too well. It creeps into our minds when we're uncertain, anxious, or facing challenges. And it often disguises itself as a productive response to our fears. But the truth is, worry is far from productive. It drains our energy, clouds our judgment, and prevents us from taking meaningful action. In essence, worry is like sitting in a rocking chair. It gives us something to do, but it gets us nowhere. One of the most insidious aspects of worry is how it masquerades as helpful. Many people think that by worrying, they're somehow preparing for the worst or protecting themselves from failure or disappointment. The thought process often goes like this: if I worry about this enough, maybe I'll be ready if it happens. However, in reality, worry doesn't prepare us for difficulties. Instead, it leaves us exhausted, mentally and emotionally drained, and more vulnerable when the challenges we're concerned about actually come to pass. Worry works against us because it monopolizes our mental resources. The human brain has a finite capacity for processing information, and when that capacity is occupied by worrying thoughts, there's less room for problem-solving, creativity, and proactive thinking. Imagine a person worried about an important presentation at work. Rather than focusing on preparing for the presentation, they might spend hours fretting over what could go wrong, the fear of making mistakes, forgetting lines, or the anxiety of not impressing their audience. This mental loop creates a paralyzing effect where all that worry hinders the very preparation that could help them succeed. By the time they get to the presentation, they may feel fatigued, unprepared, and even more anxious. Moreover, worry has a profound impact on our emotional well-being. Worrying often leads to stress, which in turn triggers a cascade of physical responses in the body, such as increased heart rate, muscle tension, and heightened cortisol levels. This fight-or-flight response is incredibly helpful when we're facing an immediate physical danger like being chased by an animal, for instance, but it's harmful when sustained over the long term. When we worry about hypothetical situations or future possibilities, our bodies respond as if those dangers are real, taxing our physical and mental health unnecessarily. Chronic worry can lead to long-term health problems like hypertension, cardiovascular disease, and weakened immune function. So while it may feel like worrying is helping us avoid danger, it's actually placing us at risk of other significant health issues. Another reason worry is counterproductive is that it skews our perspective. When we're in a state of worry, we tend to magnify problems, imagine worst-case scenarios, and become overly focused on potential negatives. This mindset not only causes us to blow things out of proportion, but also prevents us from seeing potential solutions. When worry takes over, we lose the ability to think objectively, which can lead us to make poor decisions. For example, a person who constantly worries about financial instability might avoid investing, taking risks, or even accepting new job opportunities because they fear the unknown. Instead of expanding their opportunities, worry restricts them, limiting growth and keeping them stuck in their comfort zone. This avoidance fueled by worry often creates a self-fulfilling prophecy, as staying in that comfort zone can prevent the very opportunities that might alleviate their financial worries. Worry also prevents us from enjoying the present moment. Think of all the times when you might have been worried about the future while missing out on the simple joys in front of you: a sunset, a conversation with a loved one, a quiet cup of coffee. When we worry, we're mentally absent from the present, lost in thoughts about what could happen instead of what is happening. This constant focus on the future robs us of the chance to experience and appreciate the here and now, leaving us feeling unfulfilled and disconnected. To break free from worry, we need to reframe our mindset. The first step is recognizing that worry is unproductive. When faced with a concern, it's useful to ask, what can I do about this right now? If there's an actionable step, like preparing for an exam or a meeting, then focus on doing that. However, if there's no immediate solution, acknowledge that worrying won't help. Allow yourself to set that worry aside and revisit it only if or when it becomes relevant. Taking action, however small, can be empowering, as it shifts the focus from passive worry to active problem solving. This approach helps us feel more in control and less at the mercy of our anxieties. Another helpful strategy is to practice mindfulness, which involves paying attention to the present moment without judgment. When we're mindful, we observe our thoughts rather than getting caught up in them. Mindfulness can help us notice when worry arises, acknowledge it, and then let it go without letting it spiral. For example, when we start to worry about an upcoming event, we can recognize that thought, take a few deep breaths, and refocus our attention on what we're doing right now. Over time, this practice can weaken the hold that worry has on us, allowing us to experience more peace and clarity. Self-compassion is also crucial in managing worry. Often we're hard on ourselves for not being able to let go or move on, but the truth is, worry is a habit, and like any habit, it takes time to change. Being kind to ourselves throughout the process can make a big difference. Acknowledge that worry is a natural response and that it's okay to feel it, just don't let it control you. In conclusion, worry drains our energy without solving our problems. It saps our mental resources, wears down our physical health, clouds our perspective, and prevents us from enjoying the present. By recognizing that worry is unproductive, focusing on actionable steps, practicing mindfulness, and showing ourselves compassion, we can begin to break free from worry's grip. Life is challenging enough as it is, why add the weight of worry to it? Embrace the present, take action when you can, and remember that you have the strength to handle whatever comes your way. In our complex world, it's natural to feel overwhelmed by the multitude of things that we cannot control. We live in an age where information is constant, where we're aware of global issues as well as personal challenges, and it's easy to feel weighed down by everything happening around us. However, there's a powerful strategy for managing this focus on what you can control. This idea may sound simple, yet it has the potential to transform the way we approach both life's big and small challenges. One of the biggest sources of stress is the tendency to focus on things outside our control. Worrying about external circumstances, other people's behavior, or uncontrollable events can lead to a persistent sense of helplessness and anxiety. By focusing on what is within our power to change, we reclaim our sense of agency and begin to feel more grounded. A classic example is the weather. We can't control whether it rains, snows, or shines, but we can control how we respond. We can choose to bring an umbrella, adjust our plans, or even shift our perspective, seeing the rain as something beautiful instead of a nuisance. This seemingly small shift demonstrates a key principle: focusing on what we can control empowers us, while focusing on what we can't control leaves us feeling powerless. In addition to alleviating stress, focusing on what we can control helps us make better decisions. When our minds are preoccupied with uncontrollable variables, we tend to get distracted and lose focus on practical solutions. Consider a person who is dealing with a challenging situation at work, such as a project deadline that's looming closer. They might spend hours worrying about their boss's reaction or the possible outcomes if the project isn't perfect. But by redirecting their focus to what they can control, such as organizing their time efficiently, asking for help if needed, and putting in their best effort, they shift from a state of fear and anticipation to a place of proactive engagement. When we invest our energy in the factors we can influence, we make more productive choices and set ourselves up for better results. This approach also increases our resilience. Life is filled with unexpected challenges and obstacles, and resilience is essential for adapting to these shifts. When we focus on what we can control, we build the mental and emotional strength to handle difficulties with greater ease. For instance, if a person is experiencing financial difficulties, focusing on the uncontrollable aspects like the broader economy or job market can quickly lead to despair. However, by focusing on what they can control, such as creating a budget, seeking financial advice, or exploring additional income streams, they're actively improving their situation. This proactive mindset builds resilience by helping them realize that, even in difficult times, there are always actions they can take to improve their circumstances. Focusing on what we can control also contributes to our overall well-being. When we relinquish the need to manage things beyond our influence, we relieve ourselves of a significant mental burden. This allows us to experience greater peace and satisfaction in the present moment. Take, for example, a person who frequently worries about their health. While it's natural to be concerned about staying healthy, excessive worry about potential illnesses or uncontrollable health risks can lead to anxiety and stress. Instead, focusing on actions within their control, such as eating well, exercising, getting regular checkups, and managing stress, promotes a sense of well-being and control. In this way, they're focusing on positive actions that boost their physical and mental health, rather than losing sleep over hypothetical scenarios they cannot influence. One helpful strategy for focusing on what we can control is practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness involves paying attention to our thoughts, emotions, and experiences in the present moment, without judgment. By becoming aware of where our attention goes, we can recognize when we're fixating on things we can't control and gently redirect our focus. For instance, if a person notices that they're worrying about the outcome of a job interview, mindfulness allows them to acknowledge the worry without getting swept up in it. They can then redirect their focus to what they can control, preparing thoroughly, presenting their best self, and approaching the interview with confidence. Mindfulness helps us break the cycle of worrying about the uncontrollable, allowing us to recenter our attention on meaningful, actionable steps. Another practical tool is setting intentional boundaries on where we place our energy. This involves identifying which aspects of a situation are within our control and consciously choosing to direct our energy there. For example, if someone is dealing with family conflict, they may not be able to control other people's opinions or behaviors. However, they can control their own reactions, communication style, and decision to set boundaries if necessary. By consciously choosing to focus on their own actions rather than trying to change others, they're establishing a sense of control in an otherwise challenging environment. This practice of setting boundaries on where to invest emotional energy helps create healthier relationships and promotes inner peace. Focusing on what we can control also empowers us to cultivate a growth mindset. This mindset is based on the belief that we have the ability to grow, improve, and learn through our actions. When we face a setback or failure, rather than fixating on factors we can't change, a growth mindset prompts us to look for areas we can improve. For example, a student who receives a poor grade might be tempted to blame the difficulty of the material or feel disheartened. But with a growth-focused approach, they would concentrate on studying methods, time management, and resources they could use to improve. This proactive approach not only fosters resilience, but also encourages continuous personal development. One of the most freeing aspects of focusing on what we can control is that it promotes self-acceptance. In life, not everything will go according to our plans or preferences, and people may not always respond in the way we hope. By focusing on our own actions, attitudes, and decisions, we learn to accept that we've done our best, regardless of the outcome. This self-acceptance reduces feelings of regret and disappointment because we know we've focused on what we can control. Over time, this practice builds inner peace and contentment, freeing us from the relentless need to micromanage every outcome. In conclusion, focusing on what we can control is one of the most empowering ways to navigate life's uncertainties. It allows us to reclaim our energy from unproductive worry, make better decisions, build resilience, and find greater satisfaction in the present. By taking intentional action, practicing mindfulness, setting boundaries, and nurturing a growth mindset, we can approach challenges with a clearer mind and a stronger sense of purpose. While we may not be able to control everything in our lives, we always have the power to shape our responses, attitudes, and actions, and often that's more than enough to create meaningful change. In a world constantly on the move, staying present is one of the most powerful ways to live a fulfilling and peaceful life. When we talk about staying present, we mean paying full attention to the here and now, this moment, this conversation, this activity, without letting our minds wander to worries about the past or future. Staying present helps us focus on what is right in front of us and brings a sense of calm that is hard to find elsewhere. In a culture where multitasking, planning, and stressing about what's next often take center stage, learning to practice staying present can transform our lives in profound ways. One of the key benefits of staying present is that it reduces stress. A large portion of our stress and anxiety comes not from the present moment, but from our thoughts about the future or the past. We worry about upcoming deadlines, potential problems, or the uncertainty of events we can't control. And we also ruminate on past experiences, mistakes, or regrets. All of this mental activity takes us out of the present, where our real lives are happening, and into a state of unease about things we cannot change. When we learn to bring our attention back to the present, we can let go of these unproductive worries. This doesn't mean ignoring reality or failing to plan, but it means fully experiencing life in the moment, letting go of the weight of yesterday and the burden of tomorrow. Staying present also enhances our relationships. When we're preoccupied with thoughts about the past or future, it's challenging to give our full attention to the people we're with. Have you ever been in a conversation where the other person was clearly distracted, glancing at their phone or lost in thought? It can make us feel disconnected and undervalued. The same is true when we're the ones distracted. By staying present, we can engage deeply with others, truly listen to what they're saying, and respond with authenticity and empathy. This creates a sense of connection and trust that builds stronger, more fulfilling relationships. When we're fully present, we give the gift of our attention, which is often more meaningful than we realize. Moreover, staying present improves our ability to focus and boosts productivity. When our minds are scattered between various concerns, it's tough to concentrate on the task at hand. This fragmentation of attention can make even simple tasks feel overwhelming. Practicing presence helps us to channel our energy toward one thing at a time. Instead of working on a project while also thinking about tomorrow's errands or last week's mistakes, we can fully immerse ourselves in the current task, increasing both our efficiency and the quality of our work. Staying present sharpens our focus, making it easier to accomplish what we set out to do with a sense of satisfaction and accomplishment. Another benefit of staying present is that it helps us make better decisions. Often, our decisions are influenced by worries about the future or unresolved issues from the past. When we're constantly thinking ahead or looking back, it's easy to lose sight of what's important in the moment. Practicing presence allows us to view situations with clarity and make choices based on what is genuinely meaningful, rather than on fear or regret. For example, if we're deciding whether to pursue a new job opportunity, staying present helps us weigh the pros and cons based on our current values and needs, rather than getting caught up in past career failures or future uncertainties. One way to cultivate presence is through mindfulness practices. Mindfulness is the act of observing our thoughts, feelings, and sensations without judgment, and bringing our attention back to the current moment. It's as simple as taking a deep breath, focusing on it, and noticing how it feels to breathe in and out. By observing our breath, we gently guide our attention back to the present. This practice can be done anytime, anywhere, and over time it becomes easier to bring ourselves back to the moment whenever we find our minds drifting away. Gratitude is another tool for staying present. When we practice gratitude, we focus on the positive aspects of the here and now, which grounds us in the present moment. Taking a few moments each day to acknowledge things we're thankful for, whether it's the warmth of the sun, a supportive friend, or a delicious meal, can help us appreciate the richness of the present instead of longing for the past or future. Gratitude shifts our perspective from what's missing to what's here, fostering a mindset that's more at ease with the current moment. Letting go of judgment is also essential to staying present. Often our minds are filled with thoughts that judge or label our experiences. We might be stuck on a negative experience from earlier in the day, or we may feel dissatisfied with how things are unfolding right now. This constant evaluation takes us out of the present and places us in a mindset of comparison or critique. By practicing non-judgment, we can experience things as they are, without labeling them as good or bad. This frees us from overthinking and allows us to engage fully with whatever we're doing, whether it's working, spending time with loved ones, or enjoying a quiet moment alone. Another powerful way to stay present is to engage in activities that encourage flow. Flow is a state of complete immersion in an activity, where time seems to disappear, and we're totally absorbed in what we're doing. Flow activities vary from person to person. They might include painting, playing a musical instrument, gardening, or even solving complex problems at work. Finding activities that bring us into flow can help us practice presence naturally, as they require full attention and engagement. Regularly engaging in these activities strengthens our ability to stay present in other areas of life as well. Finally, practicing self-compassion is vital when we strive to stay present. Many people judge themselves harshly for struggling to be mindful or for getting distracted. But staying present is a practice, not a perfection. It's natural for the mind to wander, and being hard on ourselves only adds unnecessary stress. When we notice our thoughts drifting, we can gently bring ourselves back to the present without judgment. Self-compassion reminds us that we're human, that presence is a journey, and that every moment offers us a chance to begin again. Staying present can seem challenging, especially in a fast-paced world, but the rewards are substantial. By focusing on the here and now, we reduce stress, improve our relationships, enhance productivity, and make better decisions. Through mindfulness, gratitude, non-judgment, flow activities, and self-compassion, we can cultivate a practice of presence that enriches every part of our lives. It's a skill that deepens with time, bringing us closer to a life that is fulfilling, peaceful, and fully lived in the moment. Life is full of challenges, and while it's natural to seek ways to avoid hardship, It's equally crucial to recognize and nurture our resilience, the inner strength that helps us bounce back from adversity. Trusting in your resilience means believing in your capacity to face difficulties, learn from them, and emerge stronger. This trust is empowering as it shifts our mindset from fearing failure to embracing the unknown with confidence. Building and believing in our resilience can profoundly impact our lives, helping us approach both minor setbacks and major challenges with courage and self-assurance. Resilience isn't just about enduring hardship, it's about adapting, learning, and growing from it. Each of us possesses resilience, but in difficult times we may question whether we have what it takes to endure. When we learn to trust in our resilience, we unlock a powerful mindset that reminds us we are capable of handling whatever comes our way. A significant part of resilience lies in reframing our thoughts during challenging times. For instance, rather than seeing a setback as a failure, we can view it as an opportunity to develop new skills, insights, or perspectives. This reframing not only strengthens our ability to cope, but also builds our belief in ourselves, reinforcing that we have the strength to overcome obstacles. One of the most profound aspects of resilience is that it's a skill that can be developed and nurtured. While some may be naturally inclined to be resilient, everyone has the potential to enhance their resilience through practice. One way to do this is by reflecting on past experiences and identifying instances where we've overcome difficulties. Often we're much stronger and more capable than we give ourselves credit for. Remembering past achievements and the strength it took to overcome challenges can bolster our confidence and remind us of the resilience we already possess. When we remind ourselves of these triumphs, we begin to believe more deeply in our capacity to handle future challenges. Trusting in resilience also involves cultivating self-compassion. It's common to feel discouraged or even ashamed when we struggle, but self-compassion allows us to accept our limitations without judgment. Resilience doesn't mean we won't feel pain, fear, or self-doubt. It simply means we recognize that these emotions are part of the journey and don't define our ability to persevere. When we're kind to ourselves, we allow space for healing and growth. Instead of pushing ourselves to be invulnerable, we learn to accept that resilience is about bouncing back rather than avoiding struggle. This self-compassion fuels resilience by making it safe to acknowledge our pain without letting it overwhelm us. Resilience also grows through positive relationships. Humans are inherently social beings, and our connections with others are often sources of strength. Trusting in our resilience includes recognizing when we need support and being willing to reach out for it. Far from diminishing our resilience, leaning on trusted friends, family members, or mentors can actually reinforce it. When we allow others to help, we acknowledge that resilience isn't about going it alone, it's about knowing when to draw on external support. In doing so, we learn that we're part of a larger network of care, which can be a powerful source of encouragement during tough times. Building resilience also requires a mindset that embraces adaptability and flexibility. Life is full of unexpected twists, and those who are able to adjust their expectations and strategies are often better equipped to handle challenges. Rather than fixating on how things should have been, resilient individuals focus on what they can do with the situation as it is. This approach requires us to let go of rigid thinking and embrace change as part of life. By adapting to new circumstances, we build our trust and resilience, knowing that we can face change and uncertainty with grace. Trusting in resilience also means being proactive in our own healing. After a setback or disappointment, it's easy to dwell on negative emotions or get stuck in a cycle of self-blame. However, resilient individuals take conscious steps toward recovery, whether that's by engaging in self-care practices, seeking therapy, or setting small goals to regain momentum. Proactivity in the face of adversity builds resilience by helping us feel more in control of our lives, even when things feel uncertain. It reminds us that, while we may not control everything, we can control how we choose to respond. A growth mindset is another essential component of resilience. People with a growth mindset believe that they can improve their skills, intelligence, and qualities through effort and perseverance. This mindset fosters resilience by encouraging us to view challenges as opportunities for learning rather than as threats. For example, a person who loses a job may initially feel devastated, but with a growth mindset, they might view this setback as a chance to explore a new career path or develop new skills. By focusing on what they can gain from the experience, they transform a painful event into an opportunity for personal growth, strengthening their resilience. Another way to strengthen resilience is by setting realistic goals. During tough times, it's tempting to think we need to accomplish a great deal to prove our strength, but resilience is built through small, consistent steps. Setting achievable goals helps us regain a sense of progress and control, which are crucial for rebuilding confidence. As we meet these goals, our trust in our resilience grows, reminding us that we can make progress even when life is challenging. Practicing gratitude also plays a role in developing resilience. It might seem counterintuitive to focus on gratitude in the midst of adversity, but reflecting on the positive aspects of our lives can provide a sense of perspective and hope. By acknowledging the things we still have, our health, relationships, talents, or even the lessons learned from hardship, we can create a mental shift that fosters resilience. Gratitude helps us see that, even in difficult times, there is value in the journey, reinforcing our belief in our ability to navigate challenges. Finally, trusting in resilience requires patience. Building resilience is not a one-time effort, it's an ongoing practice. Setbacks may come, and some challenges may seem overwhelming, but patience reminds us that growth takes time. We may not feel resilient in every moment, and that's okay. Trusting in resilience means accepting that progress isn't always linear, and that true strength comes from a commitment to keep moving forward, one step at a time. In summary, trusting in your resilience is about believing in your ability to face challenges with courage and adaptability. It involves acknowledging past triumphs, practicing self-compassion, embracing adaptability, and cultivating a mindset of growth. By taking proactive steps toward healing, nurturing positive relationships, and practicing gratitude, you reinforce your inner strength. Patience is also key, as resilience grows gradually over time. Life's challenges are inevitable, but when you trust in your resilience, you equip yourself to handle them with grace and confidence. Embracing resilience as a constant, dependable part of yourself transforms not only how you face adversity but also how you view your own potential and the possibilities ahead.